A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Fence for life,
I think my heart could start beating properly because I think without further ado, we have our guest who I'm going to bring in. It is NFL agent Zach Hiller of LAA, Loyalty Above All Agency. Good morning to you, Zach. Thanks for joining us.
Zach, you're on mute, just so you know, too. You want to take yourself off mute. On the bottom.
He is here.
Can you hear me now?
We can, man. What's going on, Zach?
Good, sir.
My fault. I'm good, man. How are you guys?
No, we're doing great, man. I appreciate you coming on the show this morning here on Clock Blockers. Thank you. I know this is a crazy time of year for you, so we appreciate you taking the time. If you're able to, you can always turn on your camera. If not, I totally understand. But this is it. What's up, man? Look at you. You're all ready to go.
There he is.
Yeah. What's going on? I'm in Vegas, so it's early right now, but
hey, I wish I was there with you. Hey, man, let's talk a little bit. What is this time of year, before we get into anything with Dalvin, what does this time of year look like for you come draft time? Because it gets a little crazy around this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, it's, every day is different. It's obviously a great time of the year. It's like the culmination of like all that hard work and everything is going to happen. It's kind of hard to sleep, really. You just want to, because you also want to just get back to work too. Like your clients are itching just to get back to the football part, because like the pre-draft process can get pretty distracting, and just in the sense where it's not necessarily football. It's like interviews. It's like job. It's like networking. It's more of a like any other job versus what all my clients are doing is playing football. So they're itching just to get back to the football, putting the helmet back on, getting in the buildings, and figuring out who their new teammates are and where they're going to live for, hopefully a very, very long time.
Tell us about your platform. I like it a lot. Jason was telling me, the name of your Loyalty Above All. Tell us a little bit about Loyalty Above All. I like your shirt there too, man. I like that. That's a dope.
Oh, thank you.
There, man.
Yeah, I think loyalty is the most important thing in the world, like in just everything, right? Like I just believe, if you're loyal to me, I'm gonna be loyal to you, and it's just what I look for in my clients and the people that I work with, and just anybody really, So that's kind of where the company name came from, and just everyone that's a part of it has that same morals and beliefs, and that's really it. It just came to me.
Hey, look, man, I like it, man. One of the things that I find interesting and getting to know some players is how the process works between player and agent. And we've seen the show Ballers, we've seen the show Entourage with Artie Gold, and there's just a lot of Ari Gold. There's a lot of things. Those representations of agents, are they accurate in real life to what they are to the player? Is that exaggerated for Hollywood purposes?
It's exaggerated for Hollywood purposes, obviously. I mean, I have a great relationship. With my clients. That's kind of what LA is about. We're a family, so I'm FaceTiming them on a daily basis. Am I, hanging out with them and doing cool stuff together? Yeah, but like it's because we're building that relationship, we're building that bond, right? Like,
yeah,
this is my life, this is my livelihood, is making sure that my clients have everything that they need to be the best at their profession, and just successful in life. So it's obviously I kind of try to just advise in all aspects of life, because I just want my clients making great decisions on and off the field and being successful people. One of the most important thing I think with me, and what's truly sad, is that you'll see professional athletes that they have great statistics while they're playing football and they were stars, and then after the game they just got nothing left, and kind of everybody leaves, because it was more so about the fact that you were a star then. So that's really, I would say, like what I try to build a relationship and be there, like in the situations like an Entourage and a Ballers. Just those are way more dramatic and everything. But yeah, we're going to the mall together. We're hanging out at the beach, the pool. just because it's business. But my clients are also my best friends.
Now, the relationship you have with the teams, I think this is a very interesting dynamic too, because you're the one that are representing the player on how they're interacting, and you're representing them and maybe how they feel. And sometimes teams aren't a huge fan of agents and how that process works. So, explain to me the dynamic of agent to team and how that process works.
Yeah, I mean it's a business, right? So, I think that's what the fans also sometimes forget, right? So you're dealing with in the NFL. You're dealing with these multi-billion-dollar corporations. That's what they are. Yeah, they're teams, they're the franchises, and people love them, but they're just billion-dollar businesses. And these owners are billionaires, and they're hiring people that are very, very smart and very, very good at what they do in order to make them the most possible money. So are they going to like when somebody is trying on the other side to do the same thing for the people that they're trying to retain? No, that's just business. It's not personal, it's just business. So yeah, is it important to maintain good relationships? 100%. But ultimately, you got to do what's in the best interest of your client, and fans may not understand that. And it always blew my mind because it's like, hey, this is his one opportunity at generational wealth. An extra 2, 3, even an extra 500. Like, maybe if fans looked at it from that perspective, right? Like, if you had an extra 500K in your bank account right now, how ecstatic would you be? You'd be ecstatic, right?
Yeah.
And you need it. You as that fan, you need it more than that owner, right? Just because this guy might have $5 million doesn't mean he doesn't need that $500,000 more than this billionaire owner.
Correct.
So, and that's what people tend to forget, and that's what an agent's job is, making sure that you don't forget that you have to do what's in the best interest of your clients at all times. And listen, if the team doesn't like you, you're probably doing a good job.
Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, so you mentioned the best interest of your clients, and my question is kind of could be a loaded one. To me, I don't think it's always about sometimes the money. I think it's a massive component, but how often do you weigh other things, whether it's location, whether it's the team where they're going?
It cut out. I got a call. I had to put the moon on, but
no worries.
I'm sorry.
Basically, player preference. Obviously, money, generational wealth. Hear that. Now, other than the money, what have you learned that are the other factors? Is it the location? Is it the coaching, the teammates, the potential?
Yeah, 100%. Well, again, that when you say the best interest of your client, that it's ultimately what the client wants. So, a guy, there might be a bigger offer at one city, and that commission check might be bigger for the agent, but that's not necessarily where the client wants to play and who the client wants to play with, where the client wants to live. So yeah, all of that goes into just figuring out what is the best situation and the best interest of the client. And those are obviously important factors because it's like anybody else, again, and that's what's super interesting about the draft. And I think that Pro Football Talk wrote an article the other day about it, that it's like, again, what I was saying is this draft it's hard to sleep because you don't know where you're getting drafted, and this is a 4-year contract. This is where you're supposed to be. We're at the minimum of 4 years, right? And they're just telling you, like, hey, we picked you, so now you're here. So it's super interesting, and you're gonna live there, work there. There's obviously comfortability of life. Well, here's that go into the decision making of signing with the teams.
All right. Next question I want to bring up to you is, for example, the Lamar Jackson situation. Lamar is representing himself. And I know that in this particular day and age, there's this conversation within sports media and the sports world of what is the value of an agent representing a player when they're in negotiations compared to a player representing themselves. When you're talking to a potential client or any client and they say, well, I can just represent myself and negotiate this. Why is it better to have an agent representing themselves compared to a player representing themselves on their own, like in the Lamar Jackson situation?
I mean, this is what we do, right? This is our job. I shouldn't have to explain why, listen, I've talked about this numerous times. To each his own. If Lamar, wants to represent himself and think he can get a deal done and it's going to be a great deal for him, then and he believes that's in his best interest, then do it. Would I disagree? 100%. You know, I've repeated it a bunch of times. This situation that's kind of, you know, bubbling over right now in the public, this was put in place by the Ravens, who were absolutely brilliant in 2018. They traded into the last pick of the first round in order to control Lamar for this amount of time frame. So nobody can fault them, because they were the ones who ultimately made Lamar a first round draft pick, which I'm pretty sure when he was sitting there that whole time, that's all he wanted. So the Ravens did that for him. They traded up. You know, now there was an agent sitting next to him as that was going on. And obviously, I don't know if he was upset or not that he's kind of, you know, waiting to be picked. But I would have been saying to him, or an agent would have been saying to him, you know, don't worry, now that we're at like 30, 31, you know, forget about tonight. We'll be the first pick of tomorrow. I'll call every single team. I'll make sure you're the first pick tomorrow. And then if you're the first pick tomorrow, right, then they don't have this fifth-year option before they start the franchise tag, because that's the whole point. You can renegotiate after 3 years. You want to start earning as quickly as possible. I mean, you can look at all the reports that show like how much money Josh Allen has made. Is he going to make up that money? We'll see. I don't know. I'm rooting for him. I want Lamar to make as much money as possible. He's an incredible football player, you know, and the more money he makes, the more money everybody makes. And, you know, I'm always players first. I don't represent, you know, any coaches or anybody on that side, strictly players. So, you know, we'll see. And again, as far as representing yourself, to each his own, to each his own.
I appreciate you touching on that. I think that was a question that I desperately wanted to know from an agent standpoint and a point of view. Real quick, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. I got Zach Hiller in the building, Jason Sarney hanging out here on Clock Blockers. Zach, you're Dalvin Cook's representation agent. Tell me about the Dalvin Cook situation in Minnesota right now, or what you're able to tell us, because that whole situation is very interesting on how it's playing out in Minnesota.
When you say situation, I don't really know of a situation at the moment. So
that's a good thing. So according to fans, there's a reason that, you know, Minnesota is shopping him around, because maybe they don't necessarily see the value in him compared to other teams.
They're not shopping him. Have there been inquiries? I mean, I said it again, right? Like, you know, when you're that caliber of a football player, these teams are always trying to get better. Teams are making phone calls. So, you know, if that's the situation you're talking about, that have teams acquired with the Vikings, yes, teams have reached out, and, you know, they're trying to, you know, work something out, and ultimately, Dalvin is, you know, he signed a contract with Minnesota Vikings, so there's no situation, I would say. But as far as trade and this and that, teams are inquiring, and if something works out, you know.
You know, one of the things that I find very interesting too is you know, how people get, hey, I have this information, or I heard from, you know, a source close to Dalvin. It does seem like Dalvin, being from South Florida, wants to be closer to home, or wouldn't mind playing for the hometown team that he grew up watching. Can you give us any insight as to would he want to necessarily play for his hometown team one day?
Dalvin loves football, and he just wants to play football, and he wants to play football where he's wanted. And that's the most important to him is that he wants to be somewhere that he's wanted, and that, you know, they believe in his skill set. They're gonna, you know, utilize his skill set, and, you know, the fans want him. He wants to be somewhere where he's wanted. That's what I know. But he loves football. So, I mean, as far as like, yeah, I mean, what I would say is, I'm pretty sure back in the day in the recruiting trail, you know, the hometown school messed up. They definitely messed up. And he's not. I guess, is it extrinsically motivated? He's not. He's motivated just to be the greatest and be the best. And he loves football, and he wakes up just craving football. And that's just all internal. I don't think there was any external motivation when it came to like playing in Miami, because of what happened in that with Miami, you know, not necessarily realizing that, you know, he should have been the guy. But he definitely has put up some crazy numbers every time he's played in that area. So
yes, he has.
So I don't know. Maybe it's the air. Maybe it's the I don't know, the weather. No idea. So, but he definitely has performed at a very, very, very well. I mean, he's performed at a very, very high level in the NFL,
But every time he's played in that South Florida heat, he's
but
gone
even
off.
in general, like people don't. Dalvin averages 107 yards per game, scrimmage yards per like those are incredible numbers, like insane. And I just think that yes, I gotta go look at his averages in South Florida. I pretty in the state of Florida. I know those numbers are even more ridiculous too. But I think he just wants to play football where people want him and love him, and that's where he wants to be.
Jason?
Zach, I did a quick look. He averages 6.6 yards per carry in Miami. So I just wanted to throw that out there and just, that's pretty good.
Good. Listen, he's a great football player. Wherever he plays, he's going to be great, So, and he's been great in Minnesota, and he's going to continue to be great. Just anywhere he plays football, Dalvin. This is what he does. Like, this is what he lives for. He's always done, and he loves it. And he's got many more years of doing it too.
So let me ask you. So we're a few days away from draft. What does this process look like for the Dalvin Cook situation? Are we waiting until after the draft is over to figure out what Minnesota might do or might not do?
I don't see a situation again. They say deadlines drive action. I don't think there's any deadlines, but I would say it's like a draft is the draft is an NFL moment where you can figure out maybe a trade because people might be a little more focused on, I need to get this, I need to get that, I need to do this, and everyone's in one place at the same time too, right? So all the teams are going to be there. Everyone's phone is open for communication. So do deals happen because of just that factor of just everybody on the same page that, hey, today's a business day, right? Like, just like with the combine, right? It's like, okay, this is a conference. Everybody's there. Let's all get together and try to figure stuff out, right? Because, like, you never know. You got to remember, it's a business. You're dealing with people. Someone, one GM could have a wedding today, and another guy could, be on a plane to Thailand. Who knows, right? So if that guy's on a plane to Thailand and that guy's at a wedding, are they doing a deal at that moment? No. When it comes to the draft, we'll see.
They better not be at a wedding or going to Thailand this week, though, especially our GM down in Miami. I'd be a little upset about that.
Exactly. So I think people are in place to kind of, figure things out. But also every day teams are inquiring to be better. So it could happen at any moment if something happens or something doesn't happen. It's just that's the world of the football business.
For lack of a better term, and not to beat a dead horse, how close were the Dolphins and Vikings to a potential deal earlier recently? And was there any team?
He went to broadcasting school. He's good, man.
How close were the Vikings to getting a deal done, whether it was with the Dolphins or anybody?
Listen, you got to remember Dalvin signed a contract. Dalvin is under contract with the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
They, right now they retain his rights. The closeness or farness of a deal, you'd have to ask, on that side.
The Minnesota Vikings point of view, yep.
Yeah. Obviously, again, Dalvin's an incredible football player. So I as far as getting close, I don't know. You'd have to know what was offered, and I don't have any of that information because I don't know. I don't know that stuff. So.
Hey, well look, man. Go ahead.
Jump in real quick. Just of course wanted to thank you for your time, Zach. This is like great stuff here. I'm curious, you have a fun roster of, got some running backs. I know you've done some work with Darrelle Revis and, Josh Gordon. In terms of new guys coming on in for draft prospects, how does that prospect work? Do you have any guys, coming on up in this class or any, future prospects on the way?
Yeah, I got a great group for this draft. Zay Flowers, wide receiver, Cam Smith, cornerback, Devon Wilson. He's going to play anywhere you want him to play. He'll play wherever you want him to play. I was telling you about my guys for the draft. Christian Young, same thing. He'll play wherever they want him to play. Mo's a beast. He's also another running back who's a beast. I think that's the class for this year. Unless Kearis Jackson, I apologize. National champion, definitely super talented receiver, kick returner, punt returner. He can do it all. Just also a great person. So yeah, I mean, we got a great group of guys that are going to be, entering the NFL this week, and I'm excited for them. And wherever they end up, the draft guys, they're going to get picked, and that's up to the teams. If a guy goes undrafted, then yeah, it goes back to figuring out the best situation, like you were saying. What defense can they fit in? Where do they want to live? Where will they be most comfortable to be successful long term? So I'm excited. It's gonna be a great week, and this is thank you guys for having me. If there's anything else I can answer, I'm all ears. But I appreciate you guys.
No, we appreciate you. Thank you.
We appreciate you coming on, man. I think it's always interesting, the dynamic between agent and player, and it's something that we haven't had a unique perspective except for having somebody like you on. And I love your loyalty above all. To me, I need some gear, man. I need some loyalty above all gear, man.
I got you.
I like that stuff, man. And we'd love to have you on again in the future.
I got to get some bathing suits and t-shirts though. That's what I need to get.
I don't know if I'd look that good in a bathing suit, Zach.
No,
I'm just saying, man. I'm not that guy.
I need them for South Florida.
We got to get him some DWA money.
You need that for South Florida because, you might be spending some time in South Florida this year, right?
It's just beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, there's great football down there, so I definitely would like to.
You're right. Thank you.
I've also heard the tax situations rather.
I wouldn't mind being down there more often.
You wouldn't mind being down there more often. I agree.
Yeah, just great football all around.
If you happen are here during opening day this year, we should definitely get together and hang out. We have the pregame show out in the tailgate, out in the parking lot of Hard Rock, man. And so I hope that you're there in Hard Rock Stadium come week 1. That'd be a lot of fun.
We'll definitely see. So,
hey, man, Zach, thanks again. Enjoy Vegas. Hey, Black 13, man. Black 13. Dan Marino, 13. Okay.
I got you. Take care.
All right.
Thank you, Zach.
Be good, bro.
Be well. Best of luck.
All right, man. Zach Hiller, Dalvin Cook's representation agent. Man, doing big things out here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Clock Blockers, home of the #1 Miami fan morning show. I think he said exactly what I thought he was going to say, which was not. I think that. I definitely think there's something there. Don't get it twisted. I think that there's, the Dolphins are obviously, I think he wants to come to Miami. He wants to play in front of the hometown team. But there's only so much that he's allowed to say and can say. And, but he was a great guy, man. That was a great shout out to Jason Sarney, ladies and gentlemen, for setting that up. Appreciate it, man.
Dude, shout out to you. You're the one that builds this platform. You're the one that, basically said, hey, dude, come join me, and thank you for that. So you can't get the B before the A. In terms of Zach, really, really phenomenal. Thank you. I mean, I'm the kind of guy, I'm a little bit of an obsessive follow-upper. To Zach's credit, I checked in on him at 10 o'clock Eastern time. As he said, he's out west. So thank you again to Zach.
Know the whole city rising. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column.